Okay, hello, and good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you are. Maybe good midnight, but then you probably wouldn't show up. It's time for another Q&A, and we have one question from the YouTube, the Facebook group, as it is right now. But before I get into that, the comment on the screen is from me, obviously. It's in the chat, in the live chat. Go there, save that one. That's the stream for next week. We seem to have some problems with these streams actually showing up. Same thing on. So in 3 days' time, I'm coaching Jared online on YouTube live every week. We probably have the same problem there, that those streams are not coming up because the streams seem to be hidden somehow. So if that is the case, I'm not really sure what to do. I might have to do something about that. I'm not really sure. Maybe release a pre-video or something to get your attention, because it's a shame. If you have questions, I want to be here and I want to answer your questions. If you don't have any, of course you don't have to be here. It's completely up to you. But it's a little bit annoying when you can't even find it, when you know that it's on and you are looking for it. So if that's you and you don't know anything about me doing a Q&A, make sure that you're here this time, this day, every week. I'm very consistent in what I'm doing. I don't really move them around. I'm always here same time, same day every week doing the live stream. So you can just put that in your calendar or whatever, show up, and the stream should be on even if you don't get a notification. So you can make your own notifications, is what I wanted to say. So that was that. Let's see if I can share my screen. And then, yes, I'm ready for your retarded questions. Absolutely. So I'm going to see if I can share the window that I want. Let's see. Is that not the... Hang on. Why do I always have problems with this? There's something... Yeah, okay. It was the right one. Was it last week? I managed to actually remember that. I can actually share it before and then just take it off the screen. So that's how I can do it. Okay. See if you can see that. Yes, you can. Perfect. So Sophie's my rock. She's always asking questions. And she says, why might one give back into cravings? So this is kind of a good question, and the one that usually takes people aback when, I mean, there are people who are sugar free for like a year, and then all of a sudden something happens and they just start binging on carbs again. It's like, we're really happy that we have managed to sort our diet out and we don't have those physiological cravings, as I like to talk about them, that comes from the hormonal aspect of things, like the insulin, low blood sugar, and that sort of thing. Excuse me, I need to sneeze. I'm sneezing on camera. At least I managed to turn the microphone off. So, still pollen. What is happening is that it's like, if you imagine that when you've heard the saying that when you learn how to bike, you will never forget about how to do it, even if you haven't done it for 20 years. And that is because you have learned this behavior and you're doing it on autopilot. I'm actually going to stop showing that because there's nothing more there. And you can literally pick that up at any point. And the same goes for skiing. I love skiing. And it literally takes me a day to get back to the level of where I was previously if I haven't skied for a while. I still need to kind of practice to get into the rhythm again and just like feel it. But my body hasn't really forgotten about what it's like. And it's the same thing with the cravings. That habit loop that you have, that the triggers, the thoughts, and the cravings that come up when you're in a specific situation, they're still going to be there. If you have been off of sugar for a year, and you haven't used that habit loop, it's a little bit rusty. But what it takes to actually activate that again is just like an event, something, usually it's something major, but not always. But if you are under a lot of stress, your brain is just going to offer you all the solutions that you have used in the past that have been working to deal with that stress. And one of them might have been eating carbs. And the same thing, if someone passes away or you lose a job or whatever it might be, it's like we don't feel good. What are all the things that we can do to feel better? And your brain's just going to throw them at you. And usually, the reptilian brain is not going to offer you things that are useful most of the time. So we need to stay on our toes a little bit and just catch that is what's happening if we want to prevent that from happening. Okay. A Clay. How do I stop eating when I'm not hungry? My biggest struggle that I can't get past. So why don't you? It's my question to you. It's very, very easy to overeat. I had a week of paying attention to what I was actually doing, and I realized that I overeat a lot. Not a lot in volumes, but I overeat almost every time that I eat, which means that I'm eating when I'm no longer feeling hungry. I could stop when I'm feeling satiated, but if it's something nice on my plate, I want to continue eating. And also, I have this thing in my brain that I think a lot of you might have, like, there's just 3 bites left. Like, there's no point in saving this. There is a lot of that going on with people in general. Like, whatever's on the plate has to be finished. If I cook my steak, I like it blue or rare. So if I'm saving 3 bites and I want to eat it warm, it's going to be overcooked. So I'm not going to enjoy it if I eat it the next time. So I may as well just eat it now. Like all of these justifications, my brain's just going to throw them at me like, well, there's no point in saving that little. If there had been like half a steak or something, that yeah, I know that I can't finish that, so I wouldn't even try. But I know that I can usually eat 3 more bites, so I will just do that. So what I would start doing if I were you is just pay attention to what is happening. Like pay attention to when your hunger signals disappear, like when you feel full, when you get that feeling of feeling like I've had enough food, like I'm not hungry anymore. And when you feel that, then you know to look for the thoughts that you might be having. So that's the justifications that your brain is going to come up with for why you should continue eating. And then just question those thoughts. Like, are they true? Is there a reason for why I would want to continue eating? Like when you build awareness, it's so much easier to stop it. And especially if you're not eating carbs, because carbs are kind of moreish in a different way than protein and fat. So it's going to be easy to just actually stop when you can build that awareness. So try that. Come back next week. Let me know how you did. And if you're still having problems, we can dig a little bit deeper into that. Auntie Patty, how are you doing? Good to see you. Yes, we have questions. Awesome. What were they? Retarded questions? Okay. Learning about lectins and oxalates. I don't want to put any plants in my face. Would you believe that's another form of eating disorder since some could reduce oxalate dumping? From what I know of you, but I might be wrong, I do not think you have an eating disorder. I think you have a very strong belief that plants are not good for your body. But you might want to question that belief because if eating some, and I'm now assuming that you have some oxalate dumping problems, if this could help, wouldn't you feel better if you ate some plants? Maybe intermittently, not every day. Maybe. So you might want to question that belief. Have you tried other things? For most people, something else might work. Maybe not 100%, but it might work anyway. Like taking some citrate or different, magnesium, potassium, or calcium citrate supplements, having Epsom salt baths, doing all of those things. Research Sally K. Norton. She's an expert on this topic. Just go to her website as well. She's sharing her information very freely, so she's awesome. No, you have to give me a little bit more information. I can't tell whether it's an eating disorder, but I don't think so in this case. Do you believe eating normal in a social setting, for example, a restaurant? I don't ask about not cooking in seed oils and just accept it for a meal every other week would be acceptable for carnivore. I mean, okay, semantics. Carnivore, what is the definition of carnivore? Is it just 100% meat and, maybe dairy, anything that comes from an animal? In that case, seed oils have no place. Some people define or say that they're carnivores if they're eating 90% plus meat, in which case I'm a carnivore. So it completely depends on your definition. What I would look at instead is like, okay, so if you do that every other week and they are frying it in seed oils, you just need to be aware that these seed oils are going to be massively oxidized. They are not going to be good for you. So are you willing to take the risk of having those oils entering your body because you don't want to ask them about not cooking in seed oil? I don't know. It's completely up to you whether you want to do that or not. But are you willing to take that risk? Is it a big risk? If that's the only seed oils you're getting into you, probably not. But it might happen. And would you, in that case, regret not having asked them to not cook it in seed oils? Like, what do you want to live with? Do you want to live with just like making sure that you're doing whatever is best for your body? Or are you willing to take the risk and potentially consequences from that? There's so many people that eat seed oil on a daily basis, and not everyone gets sick. So it might not happen, but it completely depends on who you are and how your body reacts and what previous damage you have. I can't give you a good answer to that. More questions. People in my family circle know my way of eating. No one questions why I do it. They're afraid I tell them how bad plants are, I believe. Have you encountered this as well? Did they ever ask? That's funny because okay, so with my family, no, they haven't asked. I haven't actually seen my family since I have been carnivore, if you like, or 95% carnivore. They live in Sweden and I'm in New Zealand, and I haven't been there for 5 years. Actually, 5 years this month, I realized. So pretty much spot on 5 years ago since I saw them. So I don't even know if they know that I'm carnivore. I think my mom is sneakily watching some of my material every now and then. But she doesn't tell me. But I know that she sees it. So she might know. She hasn't asked me about it. What they do know, though, is that I have been like a very big keto proponent for more than 15 years. And my mom has tried keto. She lost a lot of weight. She used to always be skinny, but when she got older, the weight is creeping on and it worked really well for her. I think she's still doing, I'm not sure right now, but last when I saw her, she was still doing somewhat low carb, but cheating a lot. And it just helped her to keep her weight down. But the most amazing thing for my mom is when I grew up, I know that every morning she would go up. The first thing she would do is a glass of, these fizzy tablets, the painkillers, because she always had headaches, just like me, but worse. When she went keto, they went away. She didn't need to take any painkillers at all. So it's kind of fascinating to me that she chooses to go back to eating some carbs and having some headaches rather than just staying away from them and actually feeling great. But that's her choice. Um, she's never questioned me. I think I think they think that I'm like the brain of the family because I've always done really well in school and I am very intelligent, blah blah blah. So they trust me. That doesn't mean that they always want to do what I think that they should be doing. So if I say something, they will believe me. If anyone is ever needing some like dietary advice, my sister, her now ex-boyfriend, they used to always like message me and ask me. So my family has been very nice about it, and they might take whatever I tell them with a grain of salt, which is fine. That's their right. But I have never had to have that discussion with anyone, and I pretty much learned to not force my beliefs on people because I used to be when I started doing it, I was like realizing things. When you start learning things, you get really excited about it and you just want to tell everyone. And I used to do that. As a personal trainer, I would tell all my clients, like, you really should cut your carbs because that's going to give you so much better results. And they're like, I can't give up bread. Like, they did not want to hear it. It was not welcome at all. They're like, nope, don't want to hear it. So eventually I just stopped saying anything unless they actually asked. And then I said, this is what I do, and this is what I think is best. And that's how I approach it now. I don't go and scream about it over the rooftops. I'm just like, well, I'm eating this way for health. If someone is asking, like, oh, why are you not having cake? I'm like, well, I don't eat sugar. I avoid most carbs anyway, like, because I feel much better doing it that way. If they ask more questions, then I will explain it. Do I go into detail and tell them about lectins and stuff? Not really. I'm like, you know what? When you're eating like beans or grains or whatever, there's a lot of lectins in there. They just like bind your minerals and they can do other stuff that people can be sensitive to it. And actually, they will make it more likely that you're going to become nutrient deficient. Like, it's a very short pitch for a plant-free diet. So no, I don't do that unless they ask. And if they ask for more details, I don't have all the details. Like, my brain is not really that interested in it. My brain nowadays, it used to be interested in all the details, and now it's like, I don't care. I just want to do whatever feels good for me. And now I know that this is probably the best. I kind of have an idea about what it is, and I forget about the details. So if I ever want to know the details, I'll just go and look it up again. So if someone's asking for the details, I'm like, yeah, here's a good source. Go and check it out. Just do it yourself. Question. I managed to up my meals to 2 mad or at least 1 to 2 pounds of meat, eggs, butter per day. Would you believe that could be sufficient, or should I keep upping it as long as I feel comfortable? Um, I mean, what's happening with your weight? What is it that you want to achieve? You always have to compare it with the results that you want. So if you just want to put on weight and you're not putting on weight when you have been upping your meals that much, then you probably need to keep going, or start doing more weight training or whatever, so that you actually like building the muscle. So that's really hard to know without you actually telling me everything else that's going on and whether you get results from doing that. But if you just literally upped it the last few days, you're not going to notice anything. So just like give it a little bit of time, give it a few weeks, and then see, okay, what's happened? Is my weight actually going up? Am I getting stronger? Am I getting bigger? How does my clothes fit? Look at all the things. The notification for this video just popped up. Excellent. Better late than never. Yep. Well, I was just 6 minutes late. So we have a lot of chatting going on today. Yay! And I'm slow, I guess. Hi, Jim. How are you doing? Jim has an awesome beard. Just want to let you know. I'm kind of fascinated by beards. I think they're cool. I usually cook 250 to 300 grams of meat and ate that. Today I had 350 grams and ate all of it, so I might just have eaten too little and was still hungry afterwards. Yeah, If you're still hungry, just eat. I was forced to finish my plate when I was a kid and told there was kids starving in Africa. Yeah. Excuse me. That's I don't think my mom ever said that, like not in my family, but that's like standing joke in school because the teachers and the lunch ladies, they used to tell us that. Finish your plate, there are kids starving in Africa. And I was like, well, send it to Africa then. And I refused to eat it. And I spent many hours staring at my food because I wasn't allowed to leave the lunchroom until the next lesson started because I refused to eat the disgusting food that they put on my plate. So, yeah, I've always been stubborn and I've always been cheeky. And it didn't make any sense to me that I should be eating it because someone else is fucking starving. I'm swearing. And I still don't think that makes any sense. I don't like throwing away food. I really do not, especially if like an animal has died to be on my plate and give me nutrition. However, like don't force me to take that food because they are the ones dishing it up and I couldn't say like I just want that little and they just put the whole fucking thing on. That was many years ago though. And I learned I don't know IDC, I don't care, or I don't blah 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 about rendered fat. So I just eat leaner cuts, 80-20 ground beef, and add 100 grams of butter cold on the side. Ooh, wow. Can your stomach handle 100 grams of butter in one sitting? I've actually just started doing, I mean, you know that I've been doing 80% fat before and tried to do like zero carb with 80% fat to see if I could do it rather than without getting the headaches, and it didn't work. And now I'm gonna try it with butter. So I had between 100 and 150 grams of butter the last 3 days, and I did well on 100 grams, but then I had 150. My stomach got a little bit like, just keep eating it. So I have, but that's spread out over the whole day. Like so, eating 100 grams in one sitting, I'm not really sure what would happen. I think I would feel sick. Always told I had to clean my plate. Agree with Pim on the blue or rare steak. Yeah, it's funny. But we are like, we're adults now. We get to decide for ourselves what we want to do with the food on our plate. And we don't need to, fill the plate. We can take seconds if we're still hungry, right? Unfortunately, sometimes the steak is just too big, just slightly too big, in which case I'm still in the same scenario. But anyhow. Oh, carnivore hippie is tired. Well, at least you're well. Question. I have some strong eczema on my upper legs, but I've recently read it could be from the jab. Thoughts? Um, I'm not sure. I mean, eczema doesn't really sound like oxalates to me. If it's eczema, it could be. Um, I'm not well read up on whether anyone has actually had that side effect from the JAB. So sorry, I can't answer that. That's not really my department. Mm. Yes, listen to every single Sally Kane Norton talk I could find. She's awesome. Yeah. And she's not just awesome, like as in an awesome person sharing awesome information and being well read and intelligent and all of that. She's like literally so nice as well. That's why she's my favorite guest I've ever had on my YouTube channel because she is really well known. She could easily just say, "Hey, I'm not going on these small channels." And she could easily just come on and then piss off again, which she actually did the second time because she had a meeting after, which is fine. But the first time I spoke to her, when we finished, she was just like taking the time and she's like, "Oh, why did you want to interview me about this? And what's your story?" She literally asked me about my story because she was genuinely interested. And that is such a nice thing. I have been on, I'm not going to mention any names because this channel is very big right now. and it was kind of biggish when I went on there a couple of years ago, or maybe even 3 years ago. And I had to reschedule 3 times. This person canceled on me like 5 minutes before we were supposed to go. It was like no respect for my time whatsoever. And once I got on that channel, I mean, I think I managed to get into the right mind space, but this wasn't a nice person, like not someone that I would ever want to deal with. Even if this channel has over 100,000 viewers right now, I wouldn't go on that person's channel again because that person was just an ignorant a-hole, in my opinion. Like, she did not treat me well. Whereas Sally K. Norton, she is so much more intelligent, has so much more information, and she's just like really giving and she wants to help everyone and she's genuinely caring about people. So when you see people behind the scenes, you really know who they are and as a person, and Sally's just like the best. I love her. Just so you know. Um, I don't want to eat any plant stuff, but I also don't want to cause a scene or ask for special orders every time we eat out. It's kind of awkward in a close family setting. But why would you cause a scene? Couldn't you be like, hey, I'm really sensitive to seed oils. Could you just fry my steak in butter or like dry or whatever? It's kind of easy to just ask them that. You don't have to tell them like, yeah, I'm a carnivore and I don't want seed oil on my beef, because then they're gonna be like, huh, do you think I care? But if you say I'm really sensitive and maybe like I get a rash whenever there's seed oil on my steak, tell them whatever. Like, just get them to do it. And if they think it's a good reason, they're not gonna cause a scene. And then if they do it, just tip them well. Like, here's your reward. Woohoo! And they're gonna want to do it again. So that's interesting. The seed oils give me massive flare-ups. So yeah, maybe your rash does get worse from seed oils. I have no idea. It could be because they're inflammatory. So if they kind of causing or making your inflammation worse, obviously whatever is going on is going to be worsened by eating the seed oils. I've never been plant-based, always hated them. All I ever ate was carbs and meat. Could it be possible I've gathered less oxalates than other people who went vegan and dumping could be easier? Yeah, that's how I was thinking about myself, and then I thought I had massive oxalate dumping. Now I'm pretty sure I didn't have that. I mean, I had some oxalate dumping last year, but those were like little whiteheads just popping up, and they were not a problem. So what I've been dealing with now is, I don't want to say a rash because it wasn't a rash. It was just like bumps everywhere. If I managed to squeeze them, like I've tried to like break them to see what's inside, which was kind of painful because they're not like pimples. But there was some white, really hard stuff inside, so that could have been some oxalates, so that made sense to me. But I think it was more of a Herx reaction from me taking borax. So I've stopped taking borax for several weeks now, and they are almost disappeared. I can still feel them, and they tend to get a lot itchier when I'm out in the sun, so I'm a little bit pissed off about that. So normally I'm always out in the sun in the spring to build my protection and get my vitamin D levels up, and now I'm sort of having to monitor it and just maybe do it once or twice per week, kind of very slowly, because every time I am, it's itching. And yesterday was sunny and I'm kind of itching here now. But I don't have a lot of um, bumps anymore, just one or two that pops up. I never discussed it with my family. They never asked until they saw the changes in my health. At that point, they were very more open-minded. One of my sisters has embraced low carb to treat her AFib. That's so great. Congratulations. She's trying to get her hubs on board, and my other sister is open, but feels she can't get by without carbs as of yet. My brother admits it would probably work, but just won't do it. But that's a first step. Like, if they think, okay, it probably will work, at some point, maybe something will kind of click or be scary enough for them to want to try it. And at least at that point, they do have a solution in mind, and then they might try it. So not everyone is going to do it, unfortunately, but at least you have one sister who's doing it. Yeah, understandable. It's just hard seeing them all get worse over time. Seeing me getting healthier and no questions. Guess it will take time or a moment when they deteriorate. Yeah. Yep, unfortunately. Um, There really isn't anything you can do to force them to do it unless they're literally so bad in such bad condition that they live in your home and you can cook and feed them everything. Like we can't ever force people to do things. Um, yes, it's frustrating and saddening. I have a close friend who I have known for 40 years and she is dying from metabolic syndrome and simply refuses to try. Yeah, that's very, very sad. Oh my god, Lilith stuff. Husband finally all in carnivore. 2 years for me. Congratulations. That's so cool. So it took 2 years and you're there. That's awesome. I'm so glad to hear that. Hello, low carb friends. Hello, Pim. Hi, Kathy. How are you doing today? Do you feel any better? Yeah, some questions would be easier if the character limit wouldn't be 200. Yeah, I know. I can't tell you how many times I've written a really long answer and then it's just like boom, gone. Like, what the fuck? And it's not so bad if I'm on my PC because I can write quickly on the keyboard, but if I'm doing it on my phone, I get pissed off straight away. I'm like, no, that was such an effort because I hate writing on my phone and then have to do it again. Finally connected with my local butcher, locally raised and butchered meat, organic, supporting my peeps, and it tastes 10 times more intense than grocery shop meat. On the right track. That's fucking awesome. Oops, I swear again. Let's see. Mine too, chronic pain, psoriatic arthritis. We talked about that before. Mobility and blood pressure all so much better. He's 64. All his doc can do is tweak on his LDL, which is only 225. That's great. So when did he go full carnivore? I'm not sure I've heard about that. I mean, I know that he was doing sort of keto-ish. I always hated beards, but perhaps carnivore has changed my aesthetics as I don't mind them anymore. Possibly. 4-hour ribs were freaking awesome. Could tear meat from the bone with a spoon. You're making me hungry. I do have some egg coffee here, but I'm still hungry because I haven't been drinking a lot of it. With a lot of butter in, by the way, about 50 grams. Pim, I want to know all about the torching of the EU goat in Sweden. I would rather have yummy grilled mutton. Um, yeah. So in what city is that? They always have one of those up every Christmas, and every Christmas someone is just sneaking in, putting it on fire. It's probably like it probably started with someone just doing it for fun, for whatever reason, and now it's probably like a sport to make it happen. And I think they putting up my cameras and people watching that fucking goat. But yeah, I don't think it's ever made it, and it's always in the newspapers. Like, is it gonna make it this year? And I don't know if it's ever done it. It's kind of funny. At the butter question, I eat one bite of cold butter with every bite of ground steak, just as a side dish. Tastes awesome, makes the meat easy to digest. At least feels that way currently. I'm learning to eat cold butter just as it is. First, I was like, am I really going to do this? And I think what I don't like about it is not necessarily the taste, it's the feel in your mouth. But I think I'm getting used to it. But I have to eat salted butter because if I eat the unsalted, I'm like, ugh, that's not nice at all. So for now, I'm eating salted butter. And if I have unsalted, I need to put some salt on it to actually do it. Yeah, Bella from SMB Gang has a video about eating a stick of butter every day and what happened. Interesting. Yeah, and she got that from Dr. Wright. And I've listened to both her interviews with her. And I'm like, I'm going to try that. But I know that Bella also in her video where she talks about her eating a stick of butter per day, she says that you can eat any type of fat. And obviously, I have already tried that, but now I'm trying it with butter to see if it's something in the butter that will actually make a difference for me. I don't think it will, but I'm giving it a try, and I'm on day 3. Unfortunately, I have had a very low grade headache that got slightly worse last night for the last 3 days, but it has also been quite hot, and I think that is the heat that is causing my headache. So I haven't actually tried to treat it with any carbs. So I've been 0 carb, um, and it hasn't got any worse. So that's probably a sign telling me that it's not a carb deficiency this time. So yeah, it was better this morning, but I can still feel it a little bit, and it was cool last night, so that's why I have this on, because I feel a bit cold. But now I'm starting to feel hot. But I can't just undress during the live stream, so I shall do that after, when you're not watching. The latest craze: eating brown butter bites as a snack and plain butter cubes before bed for better sleep. Yep, that one. So that's me, but I have not slept good last few nights, but that might be the heat as well. Do tell me about the asshole. Yeah, we're not gonna mention any names. I don't think the a-hole is fully carnivore anymore. So you can guess all you want, but I'm not gonna be bashing people here, but she just wasn't. Oops, I said she now. She just wasn't nice to deal with. Right. I don't care about butter bites. Too processed for me. Want to keep it as close to normal as possible. Yeah. I haven't tried the brown butter bites. I can imagine what they taste like because I used to make some. I can't even remember what was in them, but there was some sort of cookies, and if you brown the butter before, you just get this caramelized taste, and it tastes really nice. So that's probably what the butter bites do as well. So my brain is like, that would probably be nice. So I'm not even gonna try it. There's no point because if I like it, it's just gonna be another thing that I want to go to all the time because it's gonna trigger me. And then if I want to eat a lot of butter, then I'm gonna want to do it and I'm gonna justify it, and that just triggers my addictive brain. So I'll stay away from that. Okay, more people getting a rash from seed oils. I don't think I've ever got a rash from seed oils, but I really don't eat them very often at all. Like, because maybe if I go out, but I don't think we've been out for a meal for several years now, and we're talking about doing it very soon. There is a place not far from here called the Smoking Barrel, and they smoke their own meats and they do all of that things. But the funny thing is that even though they have really nice meat, they're also known for their delicious, extravagant donuts. And when you go on their not web page, when you go on their Facebook page, because they don't have a web page, they're just on Facebook, what you see is like donut, donut, donut. Today we have this donut. Today we have that donut. And it's just about donuts, like 5 days, and then today we have like these amazing tomahawk steaks. So send us a message if you want to reserve one because we only have like X amount of them or whatever. But yeah, they do some nice meats there. And they have on the menu, they have a carnivore platter, which isn't really carnivore, but there's a lot of meats. There are some sauces, there's some coleslaw, and there are some bread rolls. But mostly it's meat. So we usually do that and we share that, and it's kind of yummy. Except for the brisket, I find it too boring and dry, so someone else has to eat that. I had too many butter bites, made me sick to my stomach next day thinking about it, made me gag. Well, I can imagine. So that's much better. If it made you sick, you don't have to do it again. So if you eat normal butter, they're probably not gonna be as moreish, so you're probably gonna stop. Ask to go to the kitchen and tip the cook directly. The cook will do it for you next time. Sure. Is avocado oil okay? I mean, I'm not gonna judge anyone. I said I haven't had seed oils, but actually I do have olive oil. I forgot that. So I do eat some olive oil, and the only reason I eat olive oil is that I want to make pesto, or when I'm eating my meat raw, if I don't have some pesto or something on it, I like to just put a little bit of balsamic vinegar on and then with some salt and olive oil. It just makes it so much nicer. So apologies, I didn't mean to deceive you. I do eat some olive oil every now and then. So is avocado oil okay? I mean, as far as oils go, if it's a good quality oil, it's probably going to be okay-ish for a bit, but they do oxidize very easily. So if you're gonna do that, like store it well, store it cool, dark, away from everything, and try to once you open the bottle, like try to not have it for several years because it's gonna oxidize over time. So it's not ideal, but as far as oils go, it's probably in the I think I probably have to I don't know exactly what the fat composition is of olive oil, of avocado oil, but I think it's quite a lot of monounsaturated. What's it called? Avocado oil. Okay. Yeah, so it's not like what's it called? Like sunflower oil or any of those kind of oils. It's not in that camp. So I would say it's like as far as oils go, it's probably okay-ish, but all oils, seeds, avocado, whatever, they do carry some risk of being oxidized. And this one might not oxidize as quickly as a sunflower oil does, or uh, rapeseed oil or whatever, which is fine. But over time, it's still going to oxidize. So is it necessary to eat it? I mean, I'm taking the risk. I'm like, yeah, well, I'm going to have some olive oil because it just makes my life a little bit easier when I want to eat this meat because I cannot eat raw meat just as it is. It's just too boring and it isn't palatable to me. I need something else on it, and salt isn't enough for me right now. So I'm going to continue doing that. And that might not be 100% ideal, but I'm trying to store my oils correctly and make them last and be as undamaged as possible for as long as possible. I'm not interested in what the waitress thinks, but my family knows I only eat animals, so they know I ask that question because of my diet. So they could think random stuff. That's what is in my head. Okay. But why do you care? What do you think that they're going to think? And what's going to happen if they think that? I mean, why do you make this a problem? Answer that question. Why do you make it a problem? What were I taking borax for? I suspect that I have um, a fungal problem in my sinuses that I have had problems with for many, many years. I don't think it's viral. I don't think it's bacterial. I do think it's probably fungal. And borax is an antifungal, uh, what's it called? Thing. Thing is a good word to use for everything that you don't know what it is. And I thought I'll try to take that high dose of borax to see if it helps. Did it help? I don't know. Probably not too much because it hasn't improved, but getting rid of fungus in your body can take quite some time. What it did do for me, though, I'm going to tell you, this is very, very interesting. When I eat well, I don't have a lot of period pains, but usually I have to take a painkiller on the first day. After starting taking borax, I haven't had to take any painkillers for 4 months. It's just like there is discomfort. I'm not saying that I don't feel anything, but it's a completely manageable. It doesn't bother me that much. It's like a grinding pain. It's like having a light headache versus a debilitating one that just kind of knocks you out. So that's it's not because of the diet. Like the only thing I changed was taking borax, and that really, really worked. So that's kind of fascinating to me. So last time I didn't have to take it either, and I'm like, okay, I wonder what's going to happen next time, because now I haven't taken it for several weeks. So maybe that's going to be a problem again. I don't know. But so far, I'm good. I was itchy grumpy last night, but better today, Pim. Work in progress. Yes, we are all work in progress. Oh shit, Patty. About a year ago. Okay. Have you told me that? I don't think you've told me that he's fully carnivore. I see a super chat. Oh my god, I missed two. I'm I didn't even see this. This one didn't even pop it up. Thank you, Jonathan, my dear friend from New Zealand. Thank you. How are you doing? I know I'm kind of keep asking you. You're alive and you're here, so you can't be doing too badly. But I hope that you have a speedy recovery. Jim, thank you very much. Steak and eggs and steak. And I'm not going to sing it. Yeah, I eat a lot of eggs, but you know what's crazy? In New Zealand, so I had an email about a few weeks ago from the supermarket saying that we are expecting an egg shortage. And this is because there have been changes in the feeding regulations for chickens, and we expect the farmers to get rid of a lot of chickens. So we expect to have an egg shortage up until February sometime. And meanwhile, the egg prices are probably going to rise. And the egg prices have risen enormously over the last year. Like it's stupid how much you're paying for the eggs. So I was obviously being a bit like eggs have always been talked about like the cheap protein. And now if you are actually measuring the amount of protein you get from the eggs, it's a lot more expensive than eating meat. But I'm still gonna have egg coffee because I like it. But it is a little bit crazy to think about. Like the cheap eggs are now more expensive than meat. And there's something wrong with that in my head anyway. Thank you, Jim. Um, mm, mm, mm. So excited for Ketoversary, 15th of January 2023, and Carniversary, 15th of April 2023. That's awesome. I don't know what city. I saw something on social media and I laughed and thought about you. Yes. Let me have a quick look. Oh God, I can't even remember what it's called in Swedish anymore. Jesus, my brain. I'm not gonna look because I'm just gonna stand here and try to think. My brain isn't working. And I know which city it is. It's just not coming to me, which is really frustrating. You know when you kind of have it like it feels like it's just without your grasp and you're like, ah, what is it? So annoying. Okay. Just doing blood work just for the lulls. Cool. Salting my meat with iodized sea salt and Redmond's real salt, then unsalted butter to add to that. Learned I really like salty taste on at least ground beef and ribeye. Yeah, well, I'm a saltivore, so I can't do it without salt. Yes, ketoversaries and carniversaries are reasons to celebrate good health. Bring on the beef. Yay. Yeah, cold raw salted butter, easy peasy. Yeah, I can't wait till the day when I can have my own cows and get my own milk and make my own freaking butter. That would be so awesome. And if you want to do that with me in New Zealand, let me know. Especially if you have money to do it. It would be even awesomer. I really don't like the recipes some keto carnivores push that resemble pizza, pasta, whatever, because I want to get away from carb dishes, not resemble them. I am 100% with you. I think I think it's great that people are doing it, but it's great in the sense that there are alternatives if you really want to do that. But I think the problem is that once you start doing that, you want to do it with everything because you want to take away the pain of not having those foods anymore. And that just leads to a different sort of, I want to say addictive cycle, but more like an obsession with trying to recreate that food that you are no longer eating. And you're wasting so much time doing it just to make sure that you're getting something that look or feels like what you are used to, rather than spending that time just reprogramming your brain into actually thinking that this is real food and it tastes awesome. We don't need to do anything about it. It's like sometimes someone says, "Oh, I have this carnivore thing and it's the best thing ever." And I'm like, "Okay, give me the recipe. I might make it someday." But like that's gonna be a once in a lifetime almost. Like I want to try it once, but I'm not gonna have a carnivore dessert every day just because it's carnivore and I can feed my addictive brain doing it. Creates its own problem, and it's almost like those, bloody vegans creating vegan eggs or whatever. It's just crazy. Why would you do that? Just eat the vegetables if you're gonna be a vegan. Like why do you want to look like an egg? It doesn't make any sense. Oh yeah, you said it. Just like the vegans who intimidate steak and stuff. Imitate is probably what you wanted to say. Uh, guess I'm going to have to watch the steak and butter video about butter to see what I missed. I think, Jim, I'll give you the quick rundown. So what Dr. Bright is saying is that when you're not eating enough fat, especially for women, but for some men as well, if they have like any problems or like erectile dysfunction or whatever it might be, then upping the fat might actually help because fat is obviously the backbone for all um, sex hormones. So you want to up the butter, and a lot of women who don't have any energy, etc., can do really well with it. And the theory behind taking some before bed is that if you have any problems with your cortisol, like it's being too high in the evening or like too low in the morning or what, if it's unbalanced in any way, then it will help to eat a lot more fat. So she doesn't even say like you need to eat butter specifically. So I don't think that's the case, but I'm still going to try it just because I want to know if it makes any difference for me for whatever reason. So that's pretty much it. So if there's anything that you don't feel great about, maybe it will help. It's worth a try. That's what I'm doing. I don't have any answers, especially not for other people. And I don't even have all the answers for myself because I still haven't figured out, like, I have figured out a way to avoid having headaches most of the time, but it's not the ideal way that I want to be eating long term necessarily. If I have to, I'm still happy to do it, but I don't think I'm ever going to stop experimenting because I want to feel better. I always want to feel better. So if I can find a way for me to feel better, then I'm going to keep trying and experimenting and see what happens. And then I can tell you whether it worked for me or not. And I wish that I could just come back in like next month in January and tell you like, yeah, I increased my butter to 150 grams per day and I haven't had a headache since and I'm feeling great. That would be so awesome. Now, I'm not sure that's going to be the case, but if that happens, I'm going to let you know. There's a place here called Bourbon and Bones. We're going for New Year's Eve. So excited to try it, but it's very expensive. Total carnivore treat. Totally worth it. Like, celebrate that new year. You get your steaks in. It sounds awesome. Brisket seems to be the holy grail here lately. I agree. Very boring. My least favorite. Yeah. And the way they serve it is like it's like a slice of brisket. So I'm not sure. But it might be because I like my meat like uncooked. So anything that's cooked and a bit dry, I'm like, ugh, not really my thing. Question: what if your 3-year-old niece gives you a piece of her birthday cake? Hasn't happened to me yet, but I want to be prepared not to hurt her feelings. Oh, Jesus. You can just say, oh, that's so bloody sweet of you. Thank you. But I'm not hungry, or I don't eat cake. I get sick if I eat cake. Because you might actually feel sick if you eat cake, and you might get stomach upsets, etc. Personally, I would just let him deal with it because I'm an asshole. I would be like, oh, that's really sweet of you, but cake is not good for you, so I'm not going to eat it. That's what I would say. But you don't have to say it that way. So I just let people deal with whatever thoughts they're having, even if they are 3-year-old kids. And kids are going to be like, what? Cake is so nice. They're like, yeah, I know, but it's shit for you. That's what I would do. And that would just like sow that seed. Good or bad, I don't know. But a 3-year-old is not going to be like, they're not going to have their feelings hurt that much because you can thank them and like make sure that they know that you're grateful that they thought about you. And then just like throw the truth in the face if you like to. Whereas if this was like um, your grandmother making this special cake for you that she's made for you every year since you were 3 years old, and she's only making it for you, and blah blah blah, and you're like, sorry, I don't eat cake anymore. She's probably gonna be upset about it. She's like, but this is your favorite cake, and I made it just for you. You're like, well, I don't eat cake anymore. I would just let her deal with it as well, but she's probably going to be a lot more upset than a 3-year-old because kids forget about such things very quickly. Avocado and olive are fruit oils, different from seed oils. Both small amounts in dark green glass bottles are used quickly if you use it. Yep. I have a gluten problem, so it makes the cake easy. I almost wish all carbs were as noticeable. So if you mean like it makes it easy for you to stay away from them, take that thought like you know that eating gluten is going to be it's going to be easy for you to say no, I don't do that because I get this problem, whatever problem you actually get from eating it. Can you transfer that sort of knowledge or determination or conviction that carbs are bad to other carbs, even if you don't see the results of them? So if someone offers you ice cream, can you see how ice cream would cause a problem and think about the connection between eating those carbs and the problem that they're going to cause? And then just bring that to your own awareness if someone is kind of offering you ice cream, to build that into your mind, because you have been reminded so many times of the problems that gluten causing for you that now it comes automatically. You're like, it's easy. But if you practice having this connection to ice cream also causing you a trouble enough times, you're going to be offered that thought automatically as well, and then that's going to be easy. So it's just a way of training your brain into seeing that there is a connection here and then putting it on autopilot. Right. So we have 3 minutes. I need to go because I actually have something else going on. Jonathan, groggy and tired but splendid. The pain is tremendous, but I'm used to it. Fair enough. Well, you're gonna have to wait a little bit to see the results, I guess. But being carnivore, like you're gonna be like, yeah, I can do it. Yeah. Probably overthinking of the highest order at the restaurant, just another cognitive aspect of too self-aware, I guess. I could be on the autism spectrum, possibly. Never tested such stuff. Yeah, but autism or not, you're like, I'm probably overthinking. You didn't even answer my question. You're like, yeah, this is problem. What's going on? Like, what is it a problem? Even if you're overthinking, like, what is the problem? What is it that you want to avoid by not saying that in front of them? Heard egg shortage in UK as well. 2 cartons per customer, or at least I haven't put a restriction on it right now, but it wouldn't surprise me if that happens. It's ridiculous. And the most ridiculous thing is that we across the road we have like Quail Valley egg, whatever they call it. Anyhow, it's a big egg farm. They have thousands and thousands of chickens laying eggs there, and they don't even have a store. So worst case scenario, I'm gonna have to go and knock on the door and say, "Hey, can you sell me some eggs?" Because supermarket sucks ass. Okay, so egg shortage in UK is forced by supermarkets. There are plenty of eggs from farms. Mm, yeah. Egg shortage because Pim eating all the eggs. Eggs have gone up a lot in the US too. It's crazy. Yeah, entire world has too little eggs because of my coffee. Ah, Jesus. Yes, that's good. That's probably what I will have to do if it gets any worse. Okay, this is what I found, Pim. Every year in Sweden, a town puts up a giant straw statue of a goat in the town of, yeah, Gävle. Exactly. Jävlar. Someone always tries to burn down the goat. Yep, that is true. All the cheap eggs are over $3. God. I'm paying like $7 minimum for 12 eggs here in New Zealand. So 7 New Zealand dollars would be um, about 470 US dollars for 12 eggs. And I always buy free range, so you can probably get them slightly cheaper if you're going for caged hens. I'm just not going to do that. Hi Pim, love your content and your values. Have been watching since finding you on Bart's channel. 61 carnivores for 5 years and doing great. Thanks for doing what you do, Elizabeth. Husband's iPad. Daniel Elizabeth. Thank you very much. It's really nice to have you here. I'm glad that you enjoy the content. There's some good stuff on this channel if you want to actually change your life and start doing it. So don't just watch it, do whatever I suggest that you can do to actually make an improvement. 8 to 10 dozen eggs a week. That's for me and hubby. Yeah. I'm the only one eating eggs here, so I'm eating between 3 and 5 eggs per day, depending on the size. Interesting. I tried cold butter the other night when I woke up in the middle of the night and it helped me fall back asleep quickly. Nice. No one's going to get pregnant here, Kathy. I can promise you that. I have puppies and I like puppies. I don't like kids so much. Yeah. I just recently started making carnivore ice cream and then boom, I started having cravings. So I decided no more for a long way. And we can deal with that. I mean, we can be okay with having cravings, but why would you? Like it's just putting me back like over a year or more in like in my journey and what I have gone through, what I've been kind of working towards. So why would I do that? Just creating more problems for myself. I know I can handle the problems, but I don't want to. It's completely unnecessary. Right. I'm gonna have to just find the quick questions because my other meeting has started. They don't depend on me, so I can be late, but I don't want to miss it. Uh, I am 100 or 1%, 0% person. Well, that's a thought, and you can change that if you want to change it. I'm just saying. Mm-mm-mm. All right, so about the same price then, Patty. You can tell Bot you get 100% likes, Pim. Yeah, on my channel, usually I get something like that, but there are people who complain about me and someone who complained about the last live stream on his channel saying that it's my fault that he's shadow banned because I don't let him sing and I take down the production value. So there you go. There are some people that have opinions about me who don't like me, and that's fine. Like I'm still not gonna sit there and be sung in my ear when it hurts my head or it hurts my ears. So get fucked. Right. Okay, that was it. So thank you so much for being here. Thanks for all your bloody questions, even if they're retarded. I love them. Keep the retarded questions going. And if you're in a Facebook group, like send your questions in beforehand if you can't be here, and I will answer them like I did. And even if Sophie isn't here, if Jonathan is still here, say thanks to Sophie because I do appreciate her questions. She's posting them pretty much weekly. And usually Paprika does too. I don't know what happened to Paprika. She's not here today. But I love her too. I love you all. So come back in 3 days. Watch me coach Jared live. If you can't find it on YouTube, just know that it's in 3 days and 2 hours if you're interested in watching me coach him live. I won't be able to interact with you as much, but we're still there live. So it's always good. Thank you very much. Bye.